in football right now is Erling Haaland, a player you know well. Your friend and former teammate Ralf has said that he thinks you're going to do everything in your power to get Erling to Old Trafford. Can you say anything about that? And also there has been talks about the bonus if you manage to sign. Can you say anything about that?
Let me have a look. Okay, 10 million for Erling Haaland, 10 million for Kylian Mbappe, 10 million for Robert Lewandowski, and 10 million for Joshua Kimmich. I mean, this is nonsense, obviously. Just to answer the second question, of course, there are no such clauses in my contract. As I said, it doesn't make sense now to have any sort of speculations on possible new players. That Erling Haaland is a fantastic striker. I know best myself because I was together with the people at Salzburg at the time, with my friend Christoph Freund and the people there. I was also a little bit involved in the move from Molde to Salzburg, and therefore I know what kind of player he is. But in the meantime, the whole world has realized how good the player is. 2 years ago, it was only very few people who had probably believed in this kind of development. But as I said, it doesn't make sense. I'm more than happy. I think the offensive strike power we have here, all the offensive players that we have here, and quite a few of them have not even played yesterday. Martial only came on in the last 5 minutes. Mason didn't play at all. So we have so many top players in the offensive department that we don't need to speak about any other players.
Hi Ralf, you've got a contract for 2.5 years in total. When it comes to the summer of 2024, where do you hope that United will be in terms of their progress on the pitch and off it?
Well, in the ideal world, we will be in the top flight regularly, not only in the top 4, but also playing for titles. This is also something that is in the DNA of the club. It's about winning titles, winning the league, winning cup, being as successful as you can be in the Champions League. And this is also an issue for the new year, that we are still in the Champions League, and depending the draw, hopefully can get further in that competition. And in 2.5 years, I think the DNA of the team, of the club, is clear. You have to be as successful as you can be.
In terms of that consultancy role going forward, what will you be doing in that role? You have quite a lot of control about how the academies run, for example.
We haven't spoken about that in detail, to be honest, in all the conversations that we had with John, also with Ed, but especially with John. I also had a long telephone call with Joel Glazer for more than half an hour. I also spoke, by the way, with Ole last Sunday before the game against Chelsea for almost 2 hours. He was very generous to spend, as I said, 1.5 hours on the phone with me, telling me all his inside details about the team. But as I said, with all those people, we haven't spoken about what will happen in the next 2 years, from next summer until summer 2024. We only spoke about the current situation and how we can find a way to work together.
All right.
Hi Ralf. I wondered how much you pay attention to Manchester United during your career in the past few years, and where you think we've got to this point of you being manager right now. And also, you've been a manager before, but also sporting director. I just wondered where your passion lies with the jobs that you've done in the past.
Yes, of course, I have always followed the development of the club. We played here 10 years ago with Schalke in the semi-final, but at the time it was even a big surprise that we qualified for the Champions League semi-finals against Inter in the weeks before that. Yes, coming back to the second part of the question, when Mr. Mateschitz called me in the summer of 2012, he wanted me to become the head coach of Salzburg at the time, and I said, even for that we don't even need to meet. So he insisted. He flew over with his own helicopter with Gerard Ouillet on board. They flew to my home city. Then he asked me, where could we land? I said, I don't know. Can we land near your house? I said, sorry, maybe we made a mistake when we planned the garden of my house. There is no space where you can land with your helicopter. So then he flew to the place where where Uli Ferber and Andrea Berg, a famous German singer, lived. And then we really met an hour later. We discussed for 4 hours. And after 4 hours, he asked me, Ralf, Mr. Rangnick, what are we doing wrong in football? Why are we being so successful in Formula One, and why are we not so successful in football? And what would you change? And at the time, they had, to put it positively, very experienced squads. They had players who signed their last contract with good money, with nice standard of living in the two cities in Salzburg and Leipzig. And I said to him, I would change that. I would try to find players who signed their first or second contracts in their career. And then the whole motivational atmosphere will change. And we did that, and therefore, yes, I can work in both positions. If somebody asks me in which way do you see yourself more, I don't know. Right now, I feel and think and will very much want to work as a coach, head coach and team manager for the team. And this is what I've done in, I would say, 90% of the past 25 years in my career.